Today, Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari held a virtual meeting with former Nigerian heads of state, current heads of security agencies and top government officials, as authorities in the commercial capital, Lagos, struggled to enforce a curfew imposed to contain anger over a crackdown on anti-police protesters. A tweet from Bashir Ahmad, a personnel assistant on new media to Buhari, said that the head of state was meeting former presidents Olusegun Obasanjo, Goodluck Jonathan and Abdul Sami Abubakar, Ernest Shonkan and Yakubu Gowon. It's not clear what the leaders discussed, but there is growing pressure from Nigerians, the African Union and the international community for Buhari to bring to book those responsible for the attacks on peaceful protesters on Tuesday night, all in a bid to quell rising tensions. He addressed the nation last night.
We shall continue to ensure that liberty and freedom, as well as the fundamental rights of all citizens, are protected. But remember that government also has the obligation to protect lives and properties, as well as the right of citizens to go about their daily businesses freely and protected from acts of violence. To our neighbors in particular, and members of the international community, many of whom have expressed concern about the ongoing development in Nigeria, we thank you and urge you all to seek to know all the facts available before taking a position or rushing to judgment and making hasty pronouncements. In the circumstances, I would like to appeal to protesters to note and take advantage of the various well-thought-out initiatives of this administration designed to make their lives better and more meaningful, and resist the temptation of being used by some subversive elements to cause chaos with the aim of truncating our nascent democracy. For you to do otherwise will amount to undermining national security and the law and order situation. Under no circumstances will this be tolerated. I therefore call on our youth to discontinue the street protests and constructively engage government in finding solutions. Your voice has been heard loud and clear.
Well, in the streets of Lagos, there's been mixed reactions to the president's speech last night.
The speech was empty and lacked credibility.
What do you mean?
Because as a leader of this country, if in the first place, what he's supposed to do is to they make the announcement and speak powerfully about what is happening in this country. And the means he wants to curb what is happening in the country. But if you look at this, what he said, he talked aimlessly, lacking credibility and vision.
The protest was good to show our grievances. But being hijacked by the hoodlums, like what is going on there now, look at those people now, blocking the road, collecting money. What's it for? It's out of context. It's no more what we are looking for. Are you getting me? So it has been hijacked.
What we expected is not what we heard from him. Actually, we expected him to speak on the what happened at Lekki on Tuesday. But unfortunately, our president did not say anything about it, which is very bad. So we expected him to say something to condemn the killing. He never said such. He never made mention of it in his broadcast.
I'm seeing what is happening. Burning police station, burning everywhere. Mama, that was not the right thing to do. Not the right thing to do. To burn everywhere, burn police station, burn, kill everybody. It's not the right thing to do. You only need peaceful protests.
To discuss the situation in Nigeria a little further, we're now joined by human rights activist Warri Umudjere and writer-activist Umudjere, Africaman. To both of you, thank you very much indeed for joining us and welcome to the program.
Oh,
Thank
my
you
pleasure,
for bringing me on.
my pleasure.
All right, so let me start with you, Mr. Umudjere. In 1983, I was reminded that Chinua Achebe wrote an article, and he began by saying that Nigeria has a problem with leadership. And that was 1983. Decades later, is that statement still true?
Oh, it's very true. He actually wrote a whole book known as The Trouble with Nigeria. And he enumerated that, everything with Nigeria today is leadership, and the same is still true. I think it's been true since 1960. Achebe was right, he's no longer with us, but his one truth he told until he died, and nothing has changed even after Chinua Achebe died. It's very true.
All right, so let's turn to you, Umudjere. The president's speech yesterday, we had mixed reactions from people on the street, but for many of us from the outside looking in, it was quite surprising that he didn't even acknowledge that people had died.
Hello?
Hello, Umudjere, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, I was just saying that for some of us from the outside looking in, it was quite surprising that the first time the president spoke, he didn't even mention that people had died.
If I may come in here, the president is non-affectionate. He's non-affectionate. People have been dying in the northeast. A lot of people are dying in the south. And all over the country. The best he can do is to give a pressured condolence. He's been pressured to do everything he does. He has no willing to do everything that is demanded of a president. So it's not a surprise to me that he will not acknowledge those massacred Nigerian youths. So it's not a surprise. It's not a surprise.
All right, so I'm just trying to get a sense of what is the state of play in Nigeria. So, Warri, what's your take of the, if perhaps if I could put it in a way to say, what's the state of the nation?
Our Nigerian nation is in shambles. Just as we're talking about the massacre in Lagos, we also saw pictures of about 20 people who were killed by bandits in a place called Zamfara in the extreme northern part of Nigeria, being buried today. We don't have electricity, we don't have good roads, we don't have hospitals. People don't have employment, people have employment, don't get paid, massive corruption everywhere. So the state of the nation, well, I hate to say that it's a state of the nation because Nigeria never really became a nation. It's still a country because a lot of people have mentally checked out of Nigeria as we speak. In fact, what was trending today, it was passports. What did that mean? The people are saying, if you have a passport, just get out of Nigeria because there's nothing left. And this was following President Buhari's very tactless, uninspiring, and very condescending speech today. I mean, earlier, was it last night, where he just kind of talked down the protesters and instead of showing empathy, he was practically threatening people. And he was talking as if he was campaigning again. That's why a lot of people say. Another thing that was trending today was that the person who spoke yesterday is not President Buhari. They don't believe that the real Buhari is still alive. So this is just like some effigy in the State House repeating and miming what the president could have said. I don't believe he's dead. This is Buhari, the man in 1983, 84, and who never changed
All right, okay. It looks like we're struggling with
his ways. I think this is the dignity of the young people in the not the least youths who he doesn't even understand or believe in.
Umudjere, there's something different about what's happening now. The way the protesters, particularly young people, have taken to the streets. What do you think has changed that we're seeing this way of protest and this unrelenting desire for change? I dare say that the situation in Nigeria has always been like this. You've always had quite a robust security forces that have always dealt with people in a certain way. But for some reason, something is different at this time. What do you think it is?
Well, the only thing that has come to play, or let me say the only change with this is that this is the revolution. And in revolution, there's what we have defeated the fear. The Nigerian youth of today has defeated the fear that we are ready to die, we're ready to lose whatever we have to ensure Nigeria is being rebetted. I wish to acknowledge my elder brother here, Warri. He brought up the intention of the revolution, but a lot of things got it challenged, let me say constrained it or restricted it. But one thing they should know is that when the revolution is here, not a dime, not a factor will stop it. Not the killings, not the change of economy, wherever it might be, will stop it. So what can be attributive to this present protest or become revolution is that we have defeated fear. The fear of the unknown, fear of the unknown soldier, fear of the president or wherever might be in charge. We have defeated that fear. We are ready to die. We are ready to take what rightfully belongs to us. So that's the only difference with this protest with that of the previous protest.
All right. When you talk about revolution, what do you mean? Is this a change in government? Is this a change in president? What does revolution mean for young people in Nigeria right now?
A change or a total overhaul of the Nigeria as a country and the Nigerians as the people. Not just the president, not just the leaders, and not also the parastatals, if I may say, but every living thing and every organization that resides in Nigeria. There is a need for a total overhaul. Corruption has consumed all of us. There is no difference between a Nigerian citizen who is a follower and a leader. They are all same. We are all accomplices of this present day suffering. So this revolution is a total overhaul of you and I and every other person in Nigeria. So it's not only restricted to the presidency, governors or wherever, but every human, including myself.
So, Warri, 2003, I remember it was the first civilian elections since military rule in Nigeria. There was great hope for the future of the country as President Obasanjo became president. Are we saying when we look back now that not much changed because people are suggesting that President Buhari is still wearing his soldier's clothes?
Well, let me correct that. The first election was in 1999, first democratic elections.
Right.
Yes, a lot of people have lost faith in democracy because since 1999 till now, which is almost 21 years, people have not seen much changing in their lives. They haven't seen a country that respects their human rights. They haven't seen the fundamental freedoms that comes with democracy. They haven't seen economic changes in their life. You know, they just keep hearing about elections, and elections have become very redundant. And elections have become a way of just abusing people more and more, because what they do on election days is just not election anymore, but selections. So I think I read a study about 2 days ago, and it says that across the world, you know, especially in Africa, young people are losing faith in democracy. It's scary. But it is not democracy that young people are losing. They are losing faith in morons running African democracy, because as you were speaking earlier today, you just announced that the president of Guinea just won a third term. That's not democracy. You can imagine how those young people in Guinea are feeling as at this point. They must be really disappointed, depressed, and losing hope in democratic processes. And here you go, there will be some international observers who will say that these elections are free and fair. Some might say it's free but not fair, but they will say the same thing. I think people are losing faith in democracy, not because democracy is not a good idea, but because it has become a meritocracy.
Mm. All right, so we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, I'd like us to talk about what can happen going forwards now. We've seen President Buhari meeting with former heads of state, and one gets a sense that it's the old school talking to the old school, trying to deal with a new situation. But all of that coming up after the break.
Trenches of business, don't lose sight of the bigger picture. At Nedbank, we'll help guide and structure innovative financing solutions to take your business growth to the next level. To guide your growth, search Nedbank Bigger Picture Business Banking.
We live in a new high-tech environment. Because of technology, some of the world's wealthiest people are tech entrepreneurs. Tech is how we play and how we work. For your tech conversation, join me, Phumelele Zondi, on Network every Sunday at 8:30 p.m.
Our infrastructure build program will focus on social infrastructure. We will focus on critical network infrastructure.
Economic recovery plan for South Africa post-COVID-19. Did you get a sense that this is a plan that would be helpful in any way?
This is just a complete waste of time. It's not going to be done.
Has the president touched on the right elements to grow South Africa's economy?
I'm not optimistic about this infrastructure plan because it doesn't answer a very important issue.
Did it offer you anything of substance?
No, well, we welcome it, Arabile. The question is whether we can afford them, whether they're implementable in an urgent time frame.
Welcome. You're still watching The Globe on the SABC News channel, and on this Friday night we're taking a look at the situation in Nigeria, and we're talking to human rights activist Warri and writer-activist Umudjere, Africaman. To both of you, great to have you again. Umudjere, let's talk about the present day. The president met with former heads of state, and just before the break I said it seems as if he's meeting with the old school to deal with new school issues. Do you think that they can come up with a solution without including the young people that are on the streets?
You've said it all. There is no way they are going to come out with any positive resolution to end this present pandemic. It's a pandemic. There's no way their meeting will come out with a positive resolution. They are just going to kick us back to where we have been. So it would have been better. It would have been better that this revolution has no room for dialogue. That's my opinion. There should be no room for dialogue. You should just do what you have been told to do. So those meetings is uncalled for because they are going to put forth more political strategies to keep us in doom. So you just do what we are demanding. That's all. So I don't think there's going to be any positive resolution from that meeting.
But Umudjere, some people might say the way you're talking is anarchy, that you're refusing dialogue and that you're saying that a head of state must just do what you want them to do. Is that not anarchy?
If you might call it that, but what we are trying to say is that the kingdom of God suffers violence, and it's only through violence we can get it done. But we are not applying violence here. What we are saying is that we are a leaderless group. There is no leader here. So if you are going to talk, you are going to talk to everybody, not talking to somebody appointed or wherever. It is a leaderless group. The masses have said, this is what you should do. So it is left for you to do what you have been directed to do. You are a servant. Despite you are being the president, you are a servant. We sent you there to serve us. So whatever we tell you to do, that's what you should do. So there's no room for dialogue. We have already put what we need on the table. So you pick it, work with it. That's it.
So, Warri, let's talk a little bit about the president. Do you think that he is in charge of the country completely? Because, again, he spent more time worried about the attacks on soldiers than he even seemed to be about civilians that have been killed by people wearing military uniforms. It's almost as if he didn't want to upset the military, that he didn't even bother mentioning citizens, not even offering condolences to the families that had lost their loved ones.
Yes, that is Buhari for you. This is Buhari of 1983. When he came to office, he retroactively sentenced some people to death for drug trafficking, killed them. He introduced a law that gagged the press. There used to be certain decrees that he put in place that just summarily jail people. It was the Buhari that sent Fela Kuti to jail for trafficking his own money. So the Leopard doesn't change hasn't changed its spots. So, but what you're seeing is that, like you mentioned, they're holding meetings with people who have nothing to do with the protest because they're taking care of their own personal interests. Talking about former head of states who themselves at one time or the other had carried out genocide, massacres when they were in office. But most importantly, they are living in the past. When he made his broadcast yesterday, he wasn't talking about young people who were killed. He was talking about traditional rulers whose palaces were attacked. He was talking about people in their class who they felt were hurt. So it's a government that doesn't care about young people. And I think what is clear is that young people got the message loud and clear. And when next you hear from them, they will be very vehement. They will not continue. Nigerians have reached a point of saying, look, enough is enough. And you've gotten to the point where even when they were shooting at them, they were singing the national anthem, waving the flag, and they continued the protest, even though soldiers were shooting at them at close range. So that's where Nigeria is today. As my colleague there said, the revolution has already started. The only difference is that it's not been televised the way other revolutions have been televised. It's already started, and I don't think that Nigerian youths are going to go back. They're going to show to these people that they're determined to take back and take their future back, and things can't continue forever like this. As you guys know, what was the turning point for South African anti-apartheid fight? It was the Sharpeville massacre. That's what everybody talks about, 1960. Well, we've got our own massacre now, and it seems like it's a turning point for the youth. So you guys just watch out, watch this space.
The way you're talking, it sounds as if, sadly, more blood will be shed.
But that will not come from me. It will come from the peaceful protesters. The government, the Buhari regime, is hell-bent on spilling blood, and it's a bloody regime. They've done this before. Before the attacks on these young people at Lekki, they had killed several people, but in that, they used a strategy where they recruit thugs accompanied by police, secret police, to attack protesters. It's just that, like I said, you guys have not been following this. Otherwise, nobody would have been surprised at the eventual attack on these peaceful protesters. It is not the protesters that want to spill blood. It's President Buhari who is bloodthirsty, and I guarantee you, except something is done, he will kill more people. That's how he is, You guys forgot that he killed over 1,000 Shiites in one night in northern part of Nigeria. So this is life to Buhari. Life doesn't mean anything to him. And it is people who don't know him who are surprised at what happened last week. Those of us who know his trajectory, who know his history, and know his way of thinking, understand that he wouldn't do anything other than what he just did. There was a meeting between him and the Minister of Defense, where they took a decision to send a small unit of the army to shoot at protesters. According to the Lagos State Governor, there's a barrack 10 minutes from where the protesters were. They just recruited a small unit from there to shoot at the protesters, and that's exactly what they went and did.
Gentlemen.
And after they shot at people, they took dead bodies away, and we're hearing now that they dumped some of the bodies in the lagoon and took some elsewhere.
All right. Unfortunately, we've run out of time. This is something I think we need to keep on talking about and keep in the news cycle. Thank you so much indeed, human rights activist Warri Omoyela and writer and activist Umudjere, Africaman, for your thoughts and your time this evening. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
All right. We're going to carry on with the Globe at the top of the hour, and we begin the next hour with your headlines. Stay with us.